Good morning, everyone, and thank you guys so much for joining. Honestly, there's not a lot of news today. There's actually a lot of there's like a lot of nothing going on. We can say like the SPY isn't really moving too much. It's just channeling back and forth, back and forth. It has support right around $476 and some resistance right around 478. Besides that, I'm really watching just the market and I guess you could say some of these growth stocks. But Tom, there's really not too much major news going on.
Yeah, there's not. And sometimes when that happens, the market sometimes takes a bit of a dip. And the one sector that was not looking too good was the China sector. I know we saw BABA and a couple of stocks going down. So hopefully that doesn't start weighing in on the SPY and a couple of these other tech stocks. But like you said, that 476 resistance, or I should say support, is going to be really good on the SPY, I think, today. If we're looking at it, if we're able to break back below 476, I think that a play for puts could be pretty good for a day trade, but I really like that upper resistance at 478 too. I feel like it's a pretty decent little range here, and if we see a break in either direction, I think it can make for a pretty decent play either way.
Gotcha. So I was scrolling through CNBC this morning, and I saw a couple articles related to Tesla and Musk. And looking at Tesla, it has been doing pretty well so far. Yeah, it was earlier this morning, but either way, looking at Tesla, it's just another one of those stocks that's just kind of consolidating right now. I know it had like some explosive movement earlier in the week, but right now I'm just seeing a channel between $1,120 and like $1,080. So do you have like any levels on this one or any thoughts?
I will say I saw that Elon Musk sold another $1 billion, which was a pretty big deal. I know that they said that he's finally nearing his like 10% target. So I don't know. It kind of looks like they're double topping up here around 1120, and it came right back down today. I'm really hoping for a breakout at some point of this 1120 resistance, Mike, but it seems like that it's really holding up. And, if we do get some upwards movement here now that the market's open and we break this, I think I might look at calls, but until it breaks, I'm definitely not going to play it, I don't think.
Yeah, I know what you mean. So it's like at a point right now where you really don't want to like bet against it, but then again, it's like it is coming off of a huge uptrend. I'm still considering like a covered call, or not a covered call, a call credit spread strategy on it. But like I said yesterday, I don't love the setup like with the risk relative to the return. Like I might be able to get like a 3.5% return, but it's like I just don't think it makes sense at this point. So I don't know. I'll keep my eyes on it either way.
Yeah, I don't think it makes too much sense either, but it's definitely a fun stock to watch. And hey, if it breaks up above 1120, it might be pretty good for, some quicker day trades or something. But, either way, it looks like here at market open, at least on these 1 minute candles, Mike, it's not looking too good. It looks like we're kind of going back down into the red. If we go look at Apple here, it looks like Apple's actually up in the green, which is good news. That might actually push the SPY up, and looks like the SPY has some green candles going on, even Microsoft. So that's great to see too.
Awesome. It's always good when you see like the powerhouses in the green. It holds the market up, and it's great to see. And one stock that was like running up for a second was Zoom right now. It was just up like not a lot, but it was up more than it is now. I've been waiting for this one to pop for a while now. They've just been getting destroyed like almost every day for like the past couple of months, and they were looking really, really good last week, but they're just struggling, along with a lot of other growth companies, and they were looking good a couple minutes ago, and they're not looking bad now. It's just like we need some momentum with it.
Yeah, we do. We just need something to come back in, and kind of like what we saw yesterday in market open, Mike, some of these growth stocks like Zoom did so well at the beginning. I could not believe the way that they started to fall off in the middle of the day. And I'm really hoping that doesn't happen again. Hopefully we just start to get some good momentum. And I do see a bit of intraday resistance around 186. So hopefully we can go up through that.
All right. And then back to the watch list. I know you mentioned like Microsoft and Apple, but we're even seeing Facebook do pretty well. It's definitely showing some good momentum.
Yeah, it's not looking bad. It's up 0.6%. It kind of moved off that 345 support at the end of the day yesterday and kind of in pre-market today. It got really close anyways. And who knows, this one might be a pretty good one. I know that I've been really eyeing this one up. Like that resistance there around 355 is huge for Facebook. We can see on the daily chart how many times it's touched this level in the past and then either went up or down off of it. So hopefully we can break up through this 355. If, like I've been saying for the past couple of days, I think if it breaks 355, we might get a pretty nice run up towards those all-time highs, at least somewhere pretty close.
Gotcha. All right, and I know we saw like kind of like the value stocks run up yesterday. Two of them being, well, actually Coca-Cola actually is running, but I was kind of referring to Boeing and Disney. I guess you could say like they're kind of value stocks, kind of like reopening plays. And they're at least Boeing struggling today. Disney's not really looking too good, but I just wanted to check back in on them because they've definitely they haven't had the best year to say the least, and they were looking really, really good yesterday, and they were really close to a breakout.
Yeah, you're right. And I remember, Mike, I actually saw that Delta Airlines had like some cancellations yesterday, right around the end of the day. I believe the report came out and it ended up kind of making the stock dip down. And it looks like it's making all these reopening plays go down. Like we saw CCL fall today. RCL was down a little bit. Just almost all the airlines like AAL, DAL. It's crazy to see all those airlines down. And it seems like Boeing, even though they're not necessarily an airline, they definitely follow the airlines. It's crazy to see how much they follow them, to be honest. I was expecting Boeing to move a little bit more of on its own, but it really follows these airlines. And I'm hoping that they end up breaking up above that 210 resistance, Mike. I know we've been around 210 for months now. Like if we look at Boeing over the past few months, 210 has been a major resistance level, and we got pretty close to it yesterday.
Yeah. All right, so with the first comment, it looks like Sam is saying ISIG is running again and halted. So I know this one was really running yesterday. ISIG, it's up 39% right now. Like Sam said, it is halted, but it is just exploding. There's a ton of volume, and like over the past couple days, this thing went from like, I guess you can say like $11 or $12 all the way up to $26.50. So, or actually highs of $35.50. So, wait, what am I seeing, Tom? Okay, yeah. So over the past couple days, it went from like $12 up to $26. But like a couple weeks ago, it went from like $5 up to $35.50.
Yeah, this one's funny. I remember talking about this one yesterday. This one's moving crazy. I can't believe how much this one's going up, Mike. And it's like we said before, it hit 35.50. Maybe we'll get close to that again, given what we saw yesterday. But man, it seems like it's just running like I don't want to call it like a pump and dump stock, but it seems like it has that type of movement, at least over the past couple of days. And, it looks like a pretty good stock for momentum if you can catch it at the right time. I will say though, it looks like it's a pretty hard stock to trade. Like unless you were getting it in pre-market, you kind of missed the boat. It kind of most of its movements yesterday and today, honestly, were mostly in pre-market.
Yeah. All right. So back to the other comments. We have Matt saying, good morning. Looking red today. Asian and EU markets primarily closed down. Yeah, I mean, the SPY's been holding up pretty decently so far, but we're not really seeing any good movement in either direction, which it just kind of sucks because it's not really moving at all. But so yeah, that sucks. We have Hunter saying, come on, Facebook, to the moon. To the moon. Yeah, I mean, it was trying to run up. It looks like that momentum just turned over, so that's not good. And like, Tom, how are like Apple and Microsoft doing? Because some of these plays are just turning right back down.
Yeah, they are kind of turning back down. Like you mentioned, they are definitely coming back. It looks like they are kind of holding this little intraday support around like 179.75. But other than that, it looks like they're definitely coming back down. Hopefully it does not continue because I could see it starting to really drag down the SPY, which is also starting to come back down. So hopefully we see Apple, Microsoft, and some of the others kind of hold up. On my watch list, I was seeing bank stocks were doing pretty good earlier, and even those ones are starting to come down too.
Yeah. Okay. like everything's like not selling off, but you know what I mean? Like it tries to run up and it gets just like rejected right away. And I'm doing like a couple scans right now, and like everything that's trying to run up just gets rejected almost immediately. The only thing I see that's moving right now with even just a little bit of momentum is actually Snapchat, and it's to the downside. And even that doesn't have a ton of momentum, but like I guess you could say, well, actually, never mind. I was gonna say MU to the upside, but that's also really struggling. So it looks like heading into today, any stocks trying to run to the upside, it's they're definitely facing a lot of like selling pressure.
Yeah, they are. And the only one I saw that was barely staying up was Qualcomm. For some reason, they're continuing to run. I don't know what's going on with these guys. We're seeing almost every other chip stock start to pull back, but Qualcomm does not look bad, actually. They're getting some momentum and they're in that chip sector, so maybe they'll start to run. And Mike, another thing kind of climbing up my watch list here is actually AMC. I know it's coming back down, of course, with everything else, but I will say they had a little bit of a decent open with by themselves, kind of like some of these other growth plays.
Gotcha. All right. Then we have LC saying Tesla dipped to the $1,086 support line, might rip from there. Let's take a look. So it is holding up pretty well, especially with everything going on in the market. And yeah, it did bounce right off that support. I guess the major question is, can it hold it though? You know, it bounced so far, but I wonder if it can hold that level.
Yeah, I'm really curious if it's going to hold it too. You know, yesterday, you can see the market went all over the place. So if stocks are going up right now, expect them to possibly come back, and stocks that are down, they could possibly go back up. Like, you know, there's a lot of crazy movement, especially within the first 30 minutes, kind of like what we saw yesterday. It was honestly all over the place. And I could kind of see that happening again. You know, if we get rejected here right around like $1,100, I could see it starting to fall back down. And that support down there around 1,080, I think is going to be huge. So if we end up holding it, I think it'll be good. But, you know, it's going to depend on how the movement goes today. And honestly, I haven't been too happy with what I'm seeing, Mike. Like, I know the SPY and stuff like that is kind of starting to run and hold up very well. But like we said, some of those other stocks like Apple were starting to come back down. So hopefully they start to, you know, get back on that uptrend.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just like trying to find something that's moving right now. Like there's a lot of selling pressure, really. I mean, I know you've been watching Qualcomm, but that's doing good so far, but I wouldn't say it's anything like amazing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that too, but it's definitely having a pretty good intraday move. You know, if we were to see a different stock, you know, moving like this, we would probably like it. So I would say it looks pretty good intraday compared to most stuff. It looks like MU is starting to go back up there, which is good. It seems like the chip stocks are trying to go up, but it just seems like they're also lagging behind. Like the major ones like AMD and Nvidia are starting to dip down pretty majorly, but it seems like these I don't want to say the laggers, but I guess I could say the laggers like MU and Qualcomm are kind of, you know, going up while the other ones are falling. It's kind of an interesting comparison there.
Yeah, it's true. All right, so one thing I do see that's kind of moving is actually Rivian. This one's down like 2.5%, and it just appeared on one of my like breakout scanners, and it looks like we're right at that $100 support level. This should be huge, and we should see a pretty big move out of this one today, especially given that it's at this major support.
Yeah, I would say so as well. It looks like it's actually had a couple of intraday bounces here right around it. So I would say, honestly, this might be a good pickup for like some intraday calls. But if you see it fall below 100, man, those puts might start to really fly down. Like we can see the last time Rivian broke up above 100, they ran like all the way up to like 10. Where was this actually? 107 within the same exact day. So I could definitely see it falling down pretty drastically if it does break below 100. But, you know, either way, I think Rivian's a little bit overvalued still, Mike. You know, they had that bad earnings report, unfortunately, and it just did not help the sentiment with their stock at all. And if we're actually hovering right around 100 right now. It looks like we just broke below it. So maybe we'll start to see that big move to the downside.
Yeah, so I actually just went to FinViz right now to see what their market cap was looking like, and what was that? I wanted to say they were like the third largest auto manufacturer by market cap, and they only produced like X amount of vehicles, or no, they had $0 in revenue is what it was. But what's very interesting is, Tom, even though this stock got destroyed over the past couple weeks, like this thing went from, let me go to the daily chart really quickly. So this thing went from $179 to below 100, and it's still the third largest auto manufacturer, right? So their market cap is like 92 billion, and the next closest is Ford at a market cap of 82.5 billion. So there's still like a pretty big like, I guess you could say like discrepancy or pretty big like gap right there. And then there's an even larger gap to the upside. So Rivian has a market cap of 92 billion, but Toyota has a market cap of 295 billion, and then Tesla has a market cap of 1 trillion.
Wow, that's actually insane. I know that that's insane to hear, Mike. And what's the second largest one in the world? Toyota?
Yeah, Toyota.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that's insane to see that they are still that high. I would have thought that as they were falling here, that it would honestly that Ford might have passed them up eventually. But that's crazy to hear that it's still higher. I'll be honest, with the way Ford's moving over the past couple months, if they start to get up towards like $24-25 a share, who knows? Maybe they'll retake the third spot. But man, that's crazy to see that Rivian's still up there like that, even with the crazy drop to the downside. I thought that really would have affected it.
Yeah, it's a huge move. It went from 179 to lows of like 88 a couple days ago, and now it's at basically 100. So it just goes to show you like how large their valuation was like right when it IPO'd. It's just crazy to think about. So so yeah, that's crazy. But then we have Vicky asking for some levels on UPS. So what do you have for support and resistance?
Yeah, UPS actually has some pretty awesome resistance lines, especially on the daily chart. There's a pretty good upper resistance right around $220. And, UPS is one of those stocks that, like, whenever it starts to go on the uptrend, sometimes it starts to really run. If we break out above 220, I could see it starting to get a pretty good move. In the past, once it started to break, we've even seen some gaps to the upside and stuff like that. So I'm not saying it's going to happen like that, but definitely be aware of it. But I will say 220 looks like a huge resistance. As far as support on the daily chart, I'm definitely going to eye up more around $200 even. I think that's going to be the biggest level to look at. There is some levels in between there. And let's go see some intraday levels just in case she means for intraday. And it looks like intraday, there's even a pretty good resistance that we're kind of sitting on right around 216.50. So if we're able to break 216.50 to the upside today, I could see a pretty solid move up towards 220.
What do you have for an intraday support?
For an intraday support, it's a little bit harder to look at. I will say it's running up, so resistance is going to be the main thing to look at. But as far as intraday support, it looks like there is definitely one right around the low of yesterday. So let me go look at the 5-minute chart. I would say right around 214 even looks like a pretty good intraday support.
All right, sounds good. So Tom, I'm just doing another quick scan to see what we have moving. And we actually have Roblox moving big, but it's to the downside. So some of these puts are just exploding on Roblox. It's only down 3%. So I know it's not jaw-dropping or anything like that, but some of these puts are nearly doubling in 15 minutes. So it's pretty big.
Yeah, that is huge, Mike. And I cannot believe that they're falling down this much again. I know that this poor stock has been getting beaten down lately with it rose on the metaverse news and then it just started tanking off. It lost the hype. I will say that this setup on the daily chart, Mike, it's kind of looking like a dead cat bounce to me. I don't know about you, but man, it's starting to look pretty bad in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. I think that there will be opportunity within this catalyst though, or with this movement. And I think the biggest opportunity with it will be, grabbing shares or even selling puts.
Yeah, I think so too. And as I'm looking at it, I'm kind of looking at this gap on the daily chart here between $80 and $90. And I'm starting to think that if we start to fill that gap a little bit, I'll probably start to grab some shares there, right around this, there's a pretty major trend line here as well that it might bounce off of as we start to move to the downside. So I think it's going to be a pretty good opportunity as well.
And the good thing about Roblox, especially for selling puts, is that their IV is still pretty high. It's at basically 80%. So what you can do is, let's say we went over to the January 21st expiration date, an at-the-money put costs around $670. If you sold let's say you know that you wanted to buy 100 shares worth of Roblox right now. Of course, you can just buy 100 shares on the open market and pay, $9,500, or you can sell the 95 strike put, which is you would pay $95 anyway on the open market, but you also get paid $670. So that would bring your cost basis to like 89, like around $89 a share. So that's pretty big, and it just goes to show you that these put options are kind of expensive, which can really work in our favor in this scenario. And what's really cool is that if we look at Roblox, you see that huge $70 support. Like $70 right there. Even like right there. So even that far out of the money for the January expiration, so like 23 calendar days, you will still get paid like $50. Like, it's very unlikely to touch that, but it's like you can literally get paid $50 to potentially buy the stock at 70. That's crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy. And that is so far down there. Like that support is so far away. We could obviously have a good chance to hit it, but man, if we do, it's not going to be good for the stock, at least in that moment. But man, that's awesome that you could get that down there and still make that much for it. That's crazy. And I can't believe how much some of those valuations were on the puts. This is definitely a play to eye up, guys. And, especially if you guys are looking for like a longer term setup, Roblox, I know that it's a kind of a strange stock. A lot of people might like it or a lot of people might not like it. But in the end, they have a ton of monthly active users. Like, Mike, what were those numbers we were looking at? They were like in the 200 millions, I believe.
Yeah, it was insane. Like, I remember we pulled it up one day on the stream. I'm trying to find, what was it called again? The daily active, let's see, daily active users. Let me see if I could find, okay, so as of the third quarter of 2021, gaming company Roblox Corporation had over 47.3 million daily active users worldwide, but I think like on a monthly basis, Tom, it might have been like 200 million unique people. But either way, they are putting up some crazy numbers, and their stock was really rising off of that. Like, what was it, like on their last earnings report?
Yeah, they did. That's insane to hear. I'm going to kind of pull up this article here and throw it on the stream. We can see here how much their users have been growing. And, I thought that Roblox was more popular whenever I was like a kid, but I guess that's just because it was my own perspective. Like, once I started looking into this, Mike, I mean, it's insane to see how many, monthly or daily active users are on this game. Like we talked about, the monthly active users were around like 200 million, but to have 47 million people a day playing Roblox, it kind of blows my mind, like it makes me think like some of these other games like Call of Duty and stuff need to like switch their strategies around or something.
Yeah, it is crazy. And I've been like, I've been lurking around on Roblox a little bit and doing some research, and they really have come a long way. Like, I know I played it a couple times like years and years ago, but it really has come a long way, and I think that shows in their user growth, So I think that's huge, and they also have like a lot of potential for the metaverse. Like, even for the Meta ETF, they have a pretty high holdings. Or Roblox, the ETF has a really heavy weighting of Roblox shares in their ETF, which is a good sign. So I know there's a lot of like hype going on with the metaverse, and Roblox is one of the companies that can benefit from that.
Yeah, and Roblox is a pretty good platform for the metaverse. Like, with the way it's set up and everything, I could definitely see it. And, I've seen Roblox like nowadays, Mike, like they're trying to make it almost like Grand Theft Auto. Like, you can play like role play and stuff on it. And, there's a lot of crazy stuff you can do apparently. But yeah, it's a cool game. I'm glad to see the stock doing well. And as it starts to fall here, I think it'll be a pretty good opportunity to buy up as well. Like you said, that metaverse capability, I think, is going to be the deciding factor in if I invest in it or not.
Hunter goes, next time someone tells me to get off video games, I'm going to tell them I'm doing research like Mike. Well, to be fair, I actually have not played Roblox in probably 5 years. Probably 10 years, actually. I don't even know. It's been a long time.
But 10 years here.
Yeah, it's been a while, but I have been watching some YouTube videos on it, not gonna lie. And it, like I said, it has come a long way, and like it's cool in the sense that like you can like make your own game on Roblox and like have people play that. So it's very unique is a thing, and like I feel like with that comes like the ability to adapt very quickly. For example, when like the Squid Game was going crazy and everyone was talking about it, like I know creators on Roblox, like they just made their own like version of Squid Game on Roblox, and like it was ready the next day. You know what I mean? So like that ability to adapt so quickly is a huge asset in my opinion, and it's just like a unique business model, and also they're growing a lot. So long story short, like if we get a good opportunity to scoop up some shares, I might jump on it.
Yeah, me too. It seems like a pretty cool thing for the future. And talking about some of these video game stocks, I know the other ones like the guys who make Call of Duty over here, Activision Blizzard, they've been taking a huge dip recently. And I'll tell you, they're actually starting to come back pretty strongly, Mike. Like, how many green days in a row is this? Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, like 11 or 12 green days. Like, I just can't believe what I'm seeing here out of Activision. I know they were going down a lot. They had some issues with their CEO with like some sexual misconduct charges or something. But, in the end, though, Activision, hopefully they either get rid of them, or in the end, hopefully they end up going back up. But Activision looks pretty good. I think EA is going to be pretty good. We've talked about this a lot as far as these stocks go, but for like the longer term, these stocks should do pretty good, I think. And especially like in EA and Activision's case, and TTWO, like all those stocks, like those three stocks specifically, are very established in the gaming industry.
For sure. All right. And then let's see. We have, okay, I was just checking the comments really quickly. So I just want to welcome everyone to the stream. Thank you guys so much for joining. Welcome Jamie, George, Vicky, Matt, Hunter, Sam, Alex, and LC, and then Neighbor Jay. Thank you guys so much for joining. Let us know what stocks you're watching, and we could definitely take a look at them. But Tom, back to the market. One stock is actually holding its ground pretty well, and that's Apple. Like, I'm kind of surprised by this, but kind of not, because Apple, for the most part, always does pretty well. But, they're trying to run up.
Yeah, I think that's great that they ended up breaking that high of earlier whenever they started to pull back down. I think it looks pretty good as if I was going to play anything intraday really fast, I think this type of breakout to the upside looks pretty good here. It looks like it's moving pretty quickly though. So, you might be missing out on it already, but in the end though, it seems like a pretty good setup here for today. I like it. And compared to the movement of yesterday, I think there could still be some more upwards movement, maybe up towards that 180, 130 resistance. There's definitely been a lot of movement right around there. So hopefully we're able to go up and at least test that or break it. But now, of course, now that I said that, Apple turns back over on the 1 minute chart. But I'll be honest, Apple's been kind of all over the place this morning. I'm glad to see him holding up, though. That's great to see. But at the same time, it's just lots of up and down movement for some reason.
Yeah, no doubt. All right. And then we have Vicky saying, hit the like, guys. So yeah, if you guys like the stream, it would help us out so much if you could hit that like button. It only takes like 2 seconds, and we would greatly appreciate it. But Tom, I am looking at like a couple different stocks, and there's just a lot of selling pressure today. Like, I know like MU's holding up, and you have that one pulled up, but like Zoom, Peloton, Baba, Neo, like what is that, DocuSign? Like, there's just a lot of stocks like taking a big hit this morning.
Yeah, they are. It's very unfortunate. I can't believe, poor Neo down to $28.25. Man, Neo just fell back below that $30 support again. It is not looking good for this stock, man. I don't know how much lower this one's going to go, but it seems like China is just playing a big role on them. We see Lucid, and some of the other ones are down too, but not like Neo. Neo is definitely not having a good day. I hope that they end up doing better in the longer term, Mike, but man, this one's starting to really fall over. And, if we end up breaking that low of a few days ago, like if we fall below $28 even, I'm going to be pretty worried about this one in the short term.
Yeah, not looking good. Like, even Peloton is still getting destroyed. I mean, that IV is just rocketing. I mean, that thing's nearly 100% in terms of implied volatility, and the stock is just like fading off every single day. And then Zoom has a pretty similar story. Like, it's not fading off as bad as Peloton, but still, it's like, where's this momentum at to the upside? Like, it was looking so good. What was it, like last Monday or on Friday? Yeah, let me just pull up the date. It was looking so good on December 17th, so that was a Friday. And then it can't hold its ground, So hopefully it holds its support right around like 175.
Yeah, I hope it holds that support too. If not, Man, I could see Zoom maybe coming back down to like 150. Hopefully 150 even holds up for it, but that seems like the next major support if we do fall below 175. So hopefully it holds up. Maybe we'll get some good news come in at the end of the week, like maybe some good Santa rally news or something like that. I was gonna say at the beginning of the week, Santa was doing pretty good, but as of right now, he's at least for the growth stocks, he hasn't been helping them out at all. He's been helping Apple a little bit, but he needs to bring the love to like DraftKings and Peloton because man, they need it.
I know. They need it desperately. It's like, how much lower can they go? It's like every single day, just sell off after sell off after sell off. And the part that's kind of like, I guess you could say like disappointing is that like, we see like, let's say like either DraftKings or Peloton or Zoom or whatever growth company, we might see it down 2 or 3 or 4%. And there's no news specific to the company that's out. It's just like, it's like the group of stocks that it's in.
Yeah, exactly. It's like they're all moving in sympathy with each other. It's kind of crazy. Like I just, you would normally expect some good news or I would in this case some bad news, but at least news in general. But we're not seeing much of anything. I don't know, like if maybe it's just selling pressure coming into the end of the year or what. But then we look at the SPY and it's holding up pretty well. Like to be honest, like compared to a lot of these moves today, I know it's not doing too well, but hey, it is in the green, which is better than than what we're seeing with most things today.
True. Yeah. So, because like I'm even looking at like the visualize tab on Thinkorswim, and it's really just like Apple's holding its ground, Microsoft is holding its ground, but energy's getting destroyed. Some of the value plays like Boeing's getting destroyed. Even like some of the vaccine plays like Pfizer's taking a hit. Tesla's down a little bit today. Netflix is down. Nvidia's down. So
Whoa, look at this stock.
let's see. Oh wow, yeah. Western Digital is doing pretty well.
Yeah, I was actually on that on the visualize tab as well. I saw Western Digital. I can't believe they're popping up like this, but they probably got some good news or something. Of course, they're a chip stock, and I look on their news on Thinkorswim, and I'm not seeing any news for them. The last post of news on Thinkorswim was December 21st. So I don't know. Maybe they're just going up with like MU and Qualcomm, but for some reason, these chip stocks that have been lagging behind for some reason are doing very well today. I don't know what the deal is with that. We're seeing AMD and Nvidia tank off to the downside in some pretty drastic ways. And then these other ones that have been lagging behind over the past couple of years are doing pretty well. I wonder if Intel's doing well too. And they are actually. Somehow Intel's up today. I'll be honest. I mean, Intel's done pretty well the past couple of weeks for me personally, but man, looking at it, I mean, it's weird to see how AMD and Nvidia are getting killed like this, and then these other like the laggers are kind of doing better. It's blowing my mind today. I can't believe how well they're doing compared to these.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Gosh, it's crazy. It really is. But then we have Mike saying thoughts on hedging volatility plays soon. So I'm not 100% sure what you mean. So are you referring to like VXX, like VXX calls, or like a put play? So just let me know there, and I can definitely answer that. But yeah, Tom, I definitely know what you mean with some of these, like all this crazy movement over like the past couple weeks and even the past couple of months. It's been insane. Like some stocks, it's been amazing for, like some of the chip stocks and like some of the powerhouses like Apple and Microsoft and even like Google and them. But for a lot of other companies, it's been the exact opposite. Like I know last year, like in 2020, basically everything just exploded to the upside, and growth stocks specifically just outperformed basically everything. But this year it's kind of the opposite. Like you look back throughout the year, and whether you're looking at DraftKings or you're looking at ChargePoint or whatever, like anything with growth took a big hit. I mean, even Zoom took a huge hit. But then again, like they were trading at a crazy valuation.
Yeah, that's true. And it's crazy to see them come back like this. Like those valuations, I guess, are coming back down to reality. And the good news is that ever since DraftKings came on the market, they're still up, which is great news. But it's just not very much, which is unfortunate. So I don't know. I'd love to see him start to go back. It obviously is not looking good right now, Mike. And I'll tell you, I don't know if it kind of looks like they might break below this 2580 support either today or possibly tomorrow if it doesn't hold up. So hopefully we get a bounce here today soon because it's not looking good. I feel like over the next few hours, if we fall below 2580, I mean, I'm not saying DraftKings is going to go down to all-time lows or anything, but it's definitely not good to see, and we might head towards $20 or so.
Oh, gosh. Not good. Not good. All right. We have George saying CHPT 52-week low. Yeah, that one's really been taking a hit as well. And how's BLNK doing? Let me see. Yeah, I mean, it's basically the same setup, so not looking good.
Yeah, I don't know what's happening. It seems like everything's breaking those big supports. It's just it's not a good thing to see at all. And we saw it with some of the other stocks like Zoom and Peloton, and I'm starting to wonder if those stocks were kind of foreshadowing what was coming for some of these other stocks.
True. All right, and then we have Mike saying, so thoughts on hedging volatility like VXX and UVXY. So yeah, so thoughts on hedging. Okay, wait, thoughts on hedging volatility plays soon. So I'm not sure if you have these plays already or you're looking to get them. If you have them, there are a couple ways you can hedge. But honestly, I think the best way if you're going to hedge that, because you really don't want to, you probably don't want to be buying like a put on the VXX in this situation because the implied volatility is relatively high. I mean, it's not like sky high, but it's still relatively high, and you don't want to pay for an overpriced option. So if you have calls, your best bet is probably to turn it into a spread. So like if you're let's say you had like 10 VXX call options and you wanted to hedge some of them, what you can do is maybe sell like 5 of the VXX call options, but you sell to open those ones and you sell it at a lower strike price. So for example, if you had like the 25 strike VXX calls that expire in, let's say, February, and you had 10 of them, you can sell to open like 5 of like the 22 strike VXX calls, same expiration, and hedge it that way. That's just one way, but again, I don't know which positions you have. I don't know if you have any positions or if you're looking to open some. So obviously it just depends on the situation, but you probably don't want to be adding more options if you already have options in the VXX because of the implied volatility. So if you have calls on the VXX, you probably do not want to be buying puts on it to hedge because it's very possible that the puts will just expire worthless and the calls drop in value, and that's a double loser. So
yeah, that could definitely happen. VXX is definitely not a normal stock. It moves pretty crazy, actually. We can see how much up and down movement it's had just over the past like month or so. Like it's kind of an insane stock, and you could definitely end up losing on both of those. So definitely take that advice. I think that'll be huge. Hopefully he kind of means buying VXX. I think that I would think buying VXX might be a good hedge if you have like a lot of stuff with like in the S&P 500 and stuff, but at the same time, we're just continuing to run up and make highs. Like, I don't know, it might be better just to almost wait for like a better scenario. But in the end, though, VXX will be good to hedge. I think it's just it's kind of crazy how VXX is as far as movement goes, Mike. Like you talked about, there's totally the scenario that you could end up losing on both of those positions if you tried to buy a put after you already had the calls and different stuff like that. And just keep in mind, this stock goes down. It goes down over the longer term. Like if we look at the 180-day 4-hour chart, it pretty much does nothing but go down. Sure, it goes up for a little while, like whenever the market goes crazy, but other than that, it's always meant to decay. It's just kind of how it's set up.
Yeah, and then another thing is, so if you don't have a hedge position yet and you are looking to hedge, kind of like Tom suggested, VXX and UVXY to the upside can be good, but you have to make sure that you have exposure to the S&P 500. So like for example, if you're holding ChargePoint, DraftKings, and Zoom, you probably will not want to hedge with VXX because like these stocks have been getting destroyed lately and the VXX has also been falling, and like they're just not really moving with the market right now. So like actually Zoom has a correlation of a negative 0.5 to the S&P 500, so that's not good. DraftKings has a negative correlation of negative 0.6 to the S&P 500, and then ChargePoint has a correlation of 0.39 to the S&P 500. So that's not bad. But long story short, you want to make sure that if you're hedging, the what you're hedging against actually moves with the market and the VIX.
Yeah, definitely. Like if you're holding a lot of like Apple, Microsoft, you could maybe say like just those bigger stocks like that, maybe UPS, Target, stuff like that, I think would be something that it would be smart then to maybe grab some VXX if you held those stocks. But like Mike said, if you're holding those like lower caps, it's not really gonna, make too big of a difference in the end. But, in the end though, Mike, VXX and UVXY, sometimes it's better just to, maybe even just get like some puts on the SPY in the shorter term or stuff like that. It just depends on how the pricing set up in that exact situation. And, sometimes like for example, in a month, it might be better to play SPXS to the upside than playing like VXX or something. So, there is a lot of different ways you could play the market to the downside as well. So always keep that in mind too.
Yeah. And then also another option is, shorting shares. Like I know you need like a decent broker to do it. Like you can't do it on Robinhood, but if you just short some of these shares, sometimes that can be good. And even just like if you wanted to hedge the market, you can short the market, but you can also, just buy shares of VXX or UVXY. Like I know as options traders, a lot of times people get caught up like only wanting to trade options, but actually using options and shares together is actually a really powerful combination, whether you're doing like a covered call or you're delta hedging or whatever. Like using both of them in combination is pretty huge.
It is, and that's something that I think a lot of traders really need to look at harder. I will say I've been trading for like 7 years now. Like for the first couple of years of trading, like I was kind of hesitant to get into selling options and stuff like that. And it was definitely a big step like once you start to take it. But man, selling if you get into like selling some calls and running the wheel strategy and stuff like that, it's a really good way to go. And it really helps like when you're hedging the market because especially like what we've been talking about a lot lately, Mike, is like with Disney or for any of these stocks, like let's say, I want to buy Disney now and it's at 155 and it's going up. Like for example, I could sell like the 152 put, or I could sell the 148 put, and it would have been a better opportunity to do this over the past few weeks as the stock was lower. But in the end though, it's just such a good way to go because you're getting paid to buy the stock lower. Like, is there a better strategy than that? Like, honestly, like I know that there's more to it than just that, but if you're just selling covered, or you're just selling puts pretty much, you're going to pretty much end up getting shares at the price or just collecting your premium. And it's a really good way to actually enter positions. And then after you enter, you can start selling calls like up around the 160 strike and all that different stuff and collect those premiums on the way up. It's just it's the smartest way to go, I think, trading, Mike. I don't know if you agree with me or not, but it's definitely one of the smartest ways to go, I think.
Oh, I agree 100%. And what's cool is even if you get in a situation, so Tom, let's say you sold the Disney 160 strike put, right? And let's just say it expired this week. And let's say you made this trade months ago. And you're like, okay, now my put's in the money, but I don't want to buy the shares right now. In the worst case scenario, Tom, you can just roll it out. So like even when you lose, you just keep rolling it out. And as long as it's a high quality stock, you'll be fine because eventually the stock should pop up above 160, and then you'll exit for all of your initial profit and then extra profit because every time you roll it, you get paid even more in time premium, I guess you can say. So it truly is an amazing strategy, just selling puts. And I know that a lot of people kind of skip over it because it can require a decent amount of capital to get started. But if you signed up with like Tasty Trade or Tasty Works, like a lot of times you can use like fractional, like you can use a cheaper margin level to sell a put. So for example, with Disney, if you needed like 15 grand to sell like the 150 strike put, you might only need like maybe 4 or 5,000 to sell it. So there's pros and cons with it, but selling puts is pretty awesome.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's definitely helped me out a lot over the past few years. Like it's been a huge thing actually. And I almost can't thank you enough, Mike, because I would have never gotten into it if it wasn't for you. So that's a really cool thing that that you taught me, and hopefully more people, look into it because it's a really good way to go. I know people love just day trading calls and day trading puts. I know that's the most popular thing, but in the end, the most popular things aren't always the best things in life. So hopefully you listen to the advice, and it's really good, especially for longer term plays. I think it's awesome, and it's really good for all these opportunities that we're seeing like right now, like with Disney, DraftKings. While all these stocks are low, it's going to be a really good time to take advantage of these.
Very true. So there we go. There we go. Then we have Gibson saying, made nice on Square Put this morning. Looking like it's finding support though. Maybe something to watch for a reversal. So yeah, Square's been taking a hit lately as well. I really like them for the long term. But yeah, they're definitely struggling in the short term. Then we have Johnny Leverage saying selling covered calls is good in this choppy market. Get lower price shares and sell high strike covered call. If stock goes down, then roll. Yeah, that's another good strategy. And what you could even do is you can sell a put, and then if you get assigned the shares, then sell the covered call, and that's the wheel. So it's basically like the same strategy, just to the upside. But yeah, I mean, covered calls are definitely really good, and it just goes to show you, when you use options and shares together, they become pretty powerful.
Yeah, they do. And looking at Square, that's going to be a pretty good opportunity on that one as well to possibly sell some puts on it. So a lot of these plays are looking pretty good, I think, for it, Mike. And like you pointed out to me, you could just keep rolling it out. Like you can, like if you get like let's say you don't want to pick up Square at 175, you can just keep rolling it out, and as long as it comes back to 175 at some point, you'll be fine. But keep in mind, do this on decent stocks because it has to come back to 175. Obviously, if it never comes back, then you're kind of screwed. But if you do this with decent stocks, it almost generally always comes back. So that's a good thing to hear about it, as long as you don't get, sometimes this does take a good mindset too, Mike. Like obviously you can't get scared and then just start selling out like right away at the first sign of a drop.
Exactly. All right, so Tom, I'm seeing a lot of chat about the market taking a hit. So looking at like the SPY and QQQ, it's not looking good today. The QQQ just fell below 400. Even the SPY is struggling.
Yeah, the QQQ looks pretty bad, I will say. That $400 level is definitely going to be huge for them. Definitely bad to see them going below that. The SPY is holding up a little bit better, but it looks like they're about to fall below that 476 support. That's not going to be good. Once we fall below that, I could see it starting to really sell off. And I've honestly been waiting for the market to fall like this almost all morning. Like stocks have just not been doing too well. Like, of course, we saw MU, Qualcomm, and a couple others do well, but the big ones like AMD, Nvidia, I mean, man, like those two stocks are just getting destroyed. Like I can't believe Nvidia is down almost 3%. They fell below $300 in a major way. They're already down almost to 294. They might close today around 290 at this rate. Like it's definitely not good. And then it's not just them though. Like we have a lot of other stocks as well, like Roku, Enphase, Run, Corsair, Zoom, Twitter. I mean, it's just not good. Even these, even like stocks like PayPal and Netflix is even in the red, believe it or not.
Crazy. How's AMC?
AMC, they were doing pretty good earlier, but oh man, it's not looking good, Mike. It kind of made me it kind of made me gasp right there. I was not expecting to see them fall down that much after open again, but looks like they fell below that key $27 support too. I mean, it's looks like we might be heading back down to $20 on AMC.
Not looking good. It's just slowly getting destroyed. I actually want to check the market cap on this one. Give me 1 second. So yeah, it looks like the market cap is 15 billion and the shares are at 27. So, interesting. All right. So yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to see if there's like any good levels coming up. I mean, there's support at 25, but with the way it's falling, I don't know if that's going to hold.
Yeah, I don't know if it's going to hold either, but I'm seeing that support right around 25 as well. That's probably going to be the bigger level to look at. And once we fall below that, there's another one like around 2250. So yeah, I don't know what to think of this one. I mean, honestly, it's probably a no play from me, but man, it's going crazy. And you know what's even crazier is like the IV has kind of been dipping as it's consolidated here over the past few days. And And now that the stock's going down, we're probably going to see that IV start to shoot back up again.
Yeah. All right, Tom. Well, do you have any last minute plays or anything you're watching today? I know the market's just going crazy. Like anything to the upside is basically getting shut down, and at the same time, we're seeing the QQQ make a brand new low of day.
Man, yeah. I mean, while those stocks are going down, it seems like these some of these safer plays, like the I don't know what you call these, like consumer plays. Like we can see Clorox again up 0.5%, looks pretty decent, especially compared to everything else, of course. And same thing with Kraft Heinz. I mean, both of those ones seem to be doing pretty well. I'm really looking at these two stocks as for the next few months, obviously, as inflation and stuff starts to go crazy. I really love these two. Hunter brought CLX to my attention, so I'll give him the credit there. Clorox is looking pretty good. I like both, though. I think that they'll both do pretty decent. As far as plays today, though, like you said, Mike, things are definitely going to be, I think we need to look at more of stuff to the downside if you're going to try to do some day trades, of course. Like, why go against the main momentum? And looking at stuff like AMD, like, man, we're starting to actually just break below like the 150 support. I don't know how much lower these ones can go, but I mean, I could see them starting to go down pretty drastically, at least with some of these other stocks that might be lagging behind. Like I know Snapchat's another one going down pretty majorly today. Same thing with PayPal, PYPL, another one that could be a good play to the downside. And, it seems like lots of plays today are just going to be with puts, it looks like.
Yeah, crazy stuff. Well, thank you guys so much for joining today's stream. The market is all over the place, but thank you guys so much for joining, and have an amazing rest of your day.